Hello there. Sorry, my phone's telling me I always forget because I have this other phone now that I have to rotate it to being upright as opposed to sideways. So I'm sorry to do this just as I'm hitting live. I didn't quite get it done fast enough. So good morning, good morning. It's Lianne Phillipson coming to you from Toronto, registered nutritionist from sproutright.com. So the last thing that any parent ever wants to read is that the food that you're giving your baby contains a very toxic mineral. So that's what's happened since the weekend. CBC had a Marketplace had a tremendous article that they put out online, and then also followed up on their great show Marketplace about infant cereals and the levels of arsenic. So I've got a blog post that's going out later today that you'll find, if you're not watching this live right now, you'll find this on sproutright.com, and then a lot more in the newsletter. So if you don't sign up for Sproutright's newsletter, then go to sproutright.com and you'll be able to sign up easily for the newsletter right there and just sort of stay in the know. And the purpose of today is especially to be able to break this down for you, because in the classes that I've taught this week to parents, their heads spinning again, like, just tell me what to do. Just can you quickly break it down? And I said, this is a whole other class that we could do to talk about arsenic and clearing it and all of those kind of things. So we're going to go through the top line things here today, and then you'll get lots more information on the blog post on sproutright.com shortly, a little bit later on today, if you're watching this live, or on March the 7th, 2019. So really important to understand and to know that arsenic in rice is not new. Rice, for whatever reason, above and beyond all the other grains, absorbs arsenic more than other grains, but there being arsenic in rice, in brown rice syrup, in infant cereals, all of the rice products, even in rice milk, is not new. So this being brought up again, which is tremendous, because it does need to be talked about. Doctors need to know that when they're recommending rice cereal as a first food, that maybe, other than all the other reasons that I talk about in my book, and also the constipating situation, and rice just generally not being the best source of getting iron into your baby, that's a whole other topic that I talk about in my workshops and in my book, then rice cereal is definitely one that I would recommend avoiding. So it sort of solidifies for me that it really is just not a great food. Maria, hi there. Is arsenic in all organic rice? Yes. Absolutely. This is not a case where you can go and buy organic and get less arsenic. Rice and brown rice, which is the healthiest thing that, of course, I'm always going to tell you to go and eat. Brown rice is likely to have more arsenic in it because the hull is still on it. So when you take that off, then you've lost a bit of the arsenic. You've lost a lot of the nutrition, a lot of the iron, the B vitamins and everything, and all the fiber, which is why we're eating in the first place. So if we break it down into what can you do about it, I'll come on to that shortly, about not ditching the brown rice altogether in everyone's life. Now, recommendations do say to avoid rice, in this article on CBC, to avoid rice until closer to 3 years. So can we keep rice out of your child's diet until they're 3 years old? Well, it certainly is possible. When you're offering, let's break it down. So if your baby is around 6 months of age, you're starting on solids. My Sproutright method is that you actually don't start in a cereal anyway. So if you're following what I've put in my book and on the New Eaters Club, this is not so much of a concern for you. If you've gone to your doctor says start with cereals and all those kind of things. I actually always recommend starting with oatmeal anyway. For whatever reason, rice cereal constipates in kind of 9 out of 10 babies, as I have seen in my practice. I don't have a study to back that up, but thousands and thousands of parents that I've consulted over the last 20 years, then that definitely is a theme. So just jump that anyway. Oats, quinoa, buckwheat, farro, polenta. There's all sorts of other grains, buckwheat as well, millet. They don't have the levels of arsenic in them. There may be something else that comes and tells us something else, but for the moment, for dealing with the arsenic situation, then you know that you can just jump to those other ones. If you don't want to take rice out of your diet completely, hang on, I'll come back to how you can deal with rice, keeping it in your diet, and brown rice, keeping brown rice in your diet, because that's where a lot of the nutrition is when you're dealing with a whole grain that hasn't been processed. So very important question that Maria asked about the organic versus non-organic. It doesn't make a difference. In the study that they published on CBC, it was actually the Canadian companies. There was 3 of them that they looked into, and 2 of the products had the highest level. It was Baby Gourmet, and then also a Loblaws, more of a snack, the Baby Gourmet cereal, but it was more of a snack. And again, just go to sproutright.com shortly. The blog will be up there with all of the information, or sign up for the newsletter, because then you'll get everything into your inbox when it's good to go. But I just wanted to jump on to do this, and then I'll put this into the newsletter as well, so you can share with all of your moms groups, with all of your friends, with anyone that you happen to know who this might affect, because it is another head spinning situation. Okay, so let's say that you're just starting solids. You now know just to skip the rice altogether. I actually recommend that you start with a meat broth first, then you go into offering fruits and vegetables. Butternut squash is a beautiful first food. You can do avocado, banana, pear is beautiful, blueberries. There's so many foods that you can offer to your baby that has nothing to do with rice at all, or any of the cereals, because it's such an incredibly processed food. Also, we have the arsenic in it with the rice, but the nutrients have to be put back into these box cereals, so they're not something that I recommend. I recommend that you give them the real grains. So take steel cut oats, use the recipe in Sprout Right to make your own cereal, and then offer that to your baby, a much better option. So we've discerned that keeping rice out of your baby's life for, without a doubt, the first year, just to lower that potential for arsenic. Let's say you're going to make a dish for everybody to have when your baby can handle it. I'll go into what you need to do with your rice to make it safer. So really important, just so that you understand that you don't have to ditch it altogether. Someone in a class yesterday said, this is a huge part of what my family eats. I think she was from Jamaica, and she says, we have beans and rice all the time. What am I supposed to be doing? And I said, okay, just calm down. We don't have to completely change everything that's going on. So white rice versus brown rice. White rice will have less arsenic in it because we've lost a part of the rice, so that hull has been taken off. We've also lost all the B vitamins, all the really good nutrients, the iron, the fiber, all of those kind of things. So let's say that you're a sushi fanatic and you love eating sushi as a parent, or maybe you're pregnant and you're going for the vegetarian sushi, then you're thinking, well, I've got arsenic going into my body. Is this going into my baby? Everything goes into our babies. Everything as they're growing in utero is going to go through to them, unfortunately. The caffeine, the sugar, that when you have sugar or caffeine, then, they're jumping around in utero, in your belly, and you can feel that. So we know that so many things still cross the placenta and get into babies. So as a pregnant mom, this is also an important awareness for you to know. So let's say that you do actually want to have rice. You want to have rice with dinner. You want to do this. You don't want to have quinoa. You don't want to have millet. You don't want to navigate, bulgur or anything like that. And it's like, we're just going to have rice because I love the black rice, or have my poke bowl, or whatever it happens to be. So the ways to deal with that is to, first of all, you've got 2 options. So even if you're going to use a brown rice, then soak it. Soak it overnight. Put it into the saucepan and just cover it and go way, way above the rice with water. Filtered water would be best, and then you leave it. You leave it overnight. I sometimes use a saucepan. Sometimes I'll use a measuring cup, because then I want to measure the rice. So I've put it into my glass Pyrex measuring cup, and then the night before, then I just fill it up, and then way overfill it, just so that I've got way, way, way more. And then you ditch that water. You ditch that, and unfortunately it's going down into the drain. That's a whole other situation, but you ditch that water, you give it a good rinse, and then you cook it. So you've lost half the amount of arsenic if you do that. The other way is to just rinse your rice quickly, because you just think, I've got to make rice. Oh no, I'm not, I haven't got time to soak it overnight or for 12 hours or whatever. Soaking any grains makes them more digestible anyway. On sproutright.com, I've got overnight oats and things like that. That's a real big thing on Pinterest, and not just on Pinterest, but you can see all sorts of options on Pinterest and also on Instagram, where you see a lot of an awful lot of really great posts and inspiration there. But soaking any grain is absolutely tremendous. Quinoa as well. Soak your quinoa overnight too, and then ditch the water, and then you can cook it. So the other way is that you just take your 1 cup of rice, give it a quick rinse. You should always rinse your rice anyway. Put it into the saucepan and then overfill it. So rather than 1 cup of rice and 2 cups of water, which is what you would typically do, maybe just 1/4 cup more if it was brown rice or short grain brown rice especially, and then you overfill it. But then you have to watch it. You have to watch it and go back and keep tasting. You'll have a guideline on the back of your package of how long the rice is going to take to cook. But then when you have so much extra water, then you have to ditch the excess. Once the rice has absorbed water, then we've got, a lot more hanging around, and then you ditch the excess from that. Now there's also the potential to just go and buy better rice rather than just worrying about, the US rice. So a study that I actually talk about in my book, in Sprout Right, and then actually my new book that's coming out in the summer, Sprout Right Family Food, then buying rice from the only place you want to get rice from California from the US. Otherwise, go and buy basmati rice from India, go and buy jasmine rice from Thailand. Like, really stay out of North America with this. Now, really, the arsenic is in the soil. We can't get away from it. And the fact is that rice absorbs it more than other grains. So it's there, it's in everything. It's going to be in our carrots, it's going to be in everything, but rice absorbs it far more than anything else. So when you buy these alternative rices, is that a word? Alternative rice, or rice that is not from anywhere in the US except for California rice, then you have a product that's going to have less, or according to the studies, this is not me saying this, this is the research that's out there. You can Google this and find it all out for yourself. They have less arsenic in it, just naturally occurring. So those are different ways to get really specific so that rice doesn't have to go completely out of your diet. But why don't you try quinoa? Try it. It's super, super high in protein, which is tremendous. My book also has a tremendous recipe for amaranth. Most people have never heard of amaranth. Who? So amaranth is actually a cousin of quinoa, much smaller, and a tremendously nutritious grain. So you can make the recipe that's in the 9 to 12 month section of Sprout Right, and then also later in the book, then there's a savory amaranth as well. So lots of options for you to be able to avoid rice or just lessen the amount of rice. Now, also, if you're a baby, or if everybody has been eating rice and you think, oh, am I going to be, extra toxic in arsenic? This is not good. You can't turn back the clock. So making sure that you keep up the amount of antioxidants, the colors that are going into your baby, into the whole family. So eat a rainbow every single day. Honestly, I could say that about any situation. So have a rainbow of anything every single day. So peppers, carrots, corn, green peppers, celery, cucumber, zucchini, just go through the produce section and pick up all of these different colors. Blueberries, put the 3 different colors of blueberries into your diet every day. That helps. The antioxidants help to clear so much. All the greens that you can have, put it in a smoothie, put everything into the blender. The kids won't know that they're there. Every single day I put spinach in my kids' smoothie. They do know that it's there. They don't like it, but I say, if you're not eating it, they're 13 and 15. If you're not eating it throughout the day, then that's where it's going, because I know that then you're getting some greens into your day. You can also use different powders to put into a smoothie or a drink or anything like that too. So really, really important. And egg yolks are tremendous for helping to clear arsenic through the system. So eat eggs. I hope that we're past, you can't eat more than 1 egg a day. You can eat as many eggs as you want. I don't suggest you eat 10 eggs a day, just because then you're only getting nutrients from one particular food throughout the day. But eating eggs regularly, egg yolks is actually where I suggest that you start the allergenic introduction of foods to your baby. So offering that egg yolk every single day, once you know that that food is fine, is tremendous. So lots of nutrition, lots of sort of nutrients that can help to detoxify and get any arsenic out of the system. It will store to a certain extent. You'll find it in the urine, so it's going in, it's coming out again. But really it comes down to the diet. What's going in, we're going to lessen that. And then also we're going to eat foods and have foods in our diet that's going to help get it out. Liver support always, you know, the greens, parsley, cilantro going into everything are so helpful for clearing anything out of the system that we don't really want in there. There's drainage remedies that I recommend from Physica, which are absolutely amazing. I've got a drainage, so there's a lymph 2 here. There's a drainage, there's a flu milieu here. So this is part of the homeoprophylaxis drainage clearing of medicines, vaccines, everything that, you know, is in our system. So there's a whole protocol that we can do with the Physica remedies to get everything out of the system. Really, really important to do. So please don't kind of lose your mind about this. It is a concern. Be aware of how to move forward. How to prepare your rice, how to buy your rice, how to deal with if rice has been going in all the time. And remember that when you're buying infant cereals, that it's in that package. It's just a refined, processed, well, and refined, but it's a processed food. So it's much easier for you to know when you buy the rice, when your baby's ready for eating the rice, your toddler's ready for actually eating whole grain rice, then you can go for the jasmine rice, the basmati rice. And then if you really want to do a short grain brown rice, you've got to soak it. You've got to cook it with extra water, one or the other. You don't need to do both. So just soak it for at least an overnight period and then cook it. It's so much faster to cook by the time you've done that. And then, or just give everything else. Give the oats, give the quinoa. You can get quinoa flakes, so you can make a cereal out of quinoa flakes. It's great. You can do the amaranth, you can do the millet, you can do bulgur. There's so many options. So it's just that we're focusing on the rice right now, and it also speaks to eating a really wide variety of foods so that we're not having rice every single day. And babies and toddlers eat way more rice cereal than we ever would, or way more rice in general in the form of the cereal. So they are really prone to this affecting them in their small little bodies, not having, their detoxification system being able to work, but maybe not keeping up with the load of the arsenic. So if you have any other questions about this, then please put them below. Make sure you're signing up for the newsletter, because that's going out today. I just did this first so that I could get this into the newsletter, and then just have everything in one place, so that then you can share it far and wide with everybody who has this same concern. Also, anybody who is in Europe, send it to them too, because they need to know about this as well. It's all very, very important information for understanding it and knowing what it is that you're feeding your baby for them to grow up and be super healthy, because it is possible. Thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing this. Definitely on social media is a great way to do it. Email it, do whatever. Just keep spreading the word so that there are other parents out there that have this information, that know that they're not ruining their baby because they've given them rice cereal already. Okay, because it's a real thing. It really is. You think, oh God, now what? Now what am I supposed to do? And next week there might be something else. Don't worry about it. Let's just deal with the cereal for now, and then we'll come on to anything else, and you can check back in here, because I'll just keep on talking about it and anything else that comes up, because that's what I do. All right, take good care, and thanks so much for joining me today. Be well.